Hello.
Good morning.
Happy June 2nd.
And welcome to
Socially Unsocial.
I'm Patty.
And I'm Danielle.
And we are here and we are your hosts today.
We are halfway through the year.
No.
We were just over the weekend and everyone's like, I can't believe May's almost over.
Yeah. And here we are. I feel like I literally don't know where this year has gone. It's been a good year, all things considered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's alive and no one's in jail and all the things.
That's how we judge a good year or not. Has anybody been in jail? Have you ever been in a jail?
Yeah.
Arrested?
Yes.
Not just on a tour of the jail?
Yes. How many? Do you want me to say it in a different way? You want me to say it in Spanish? Sí.
I've never been, thank God, because that life is not for me.
That's why I suck at the game. Never have I ever.
Because you've done everything. I'm surprised that we didn't play that game in Cabo. Never Have I Ever is one of my favorite games because you say the most ridiculous things. You find out all this crazy stuff that doesn't come up in normal conversation.
And then you go on tangents because you want to know about that person's,
Of course.
why that person drank.
Yeah, and now tell us what happened.
Yeah.
Give us all the details.
That should be a fun episode. We should do that.
Okay.
But we have to come up with questions. PG questions. Never have I ever...
skydived.
I would drink.
Oh, yep.
Uh-huh.
That's insane. I never have.
It's funny because Leah had asked me if I would ever bungee jump the other day. And I was like, I went skydiving, but I also feel like bungee jumping, when I think about it, I could just see my neck snapping. The way it just bounced like a rubber band.
I don't understand how you jump down and how that rope doesn't get tangled around your body when you fly back up and then you drop again, then you fly. How is that not somehow getting wrapped around you?
Strangled, yeah.
That is so scary. I would never.
Engineers probably worked hard on that one to make sure something with the velocity and then the thickness of the rope or something.
Yeah, that is also not for me.
Yeah.
Engineering and bungee jumping. Neither of which I know anything about.
No, I just like to guess and pretend.
I mean, that velocity, so there.
Use big words, smile and nod, and people will believe you. That's how I've gotten through the majority of my life.
I love that. Love it.
The fake it till you make it theory, love it.
Absolutely. I just told somebody that recently because sometimes you think that somebody else has it all together or that you're not good enough because the imposter syndrome type thing. And I hate that because I guarantee you that person is not any smarter or doesn't have more experience or is quite like you, but you're giving yourself
And you're not giving yourself enough credit.
Yeah, you're giving yourself just this excuse to just be mediocre.
The fear of failing. And some people's fear is stronger than other people's fear.
I think it's interesting because what are you more afraid of? Doing something and failing or sitting back and being like, oh, I never even tried it. Which is worse? Never trying it. 100%. And then also, I'm sure we've all seen it's floating around social media, this quote where it's, if you knew that you were going to fail 10 times before you got it right, how quickly would you run in to those failing moments? Instead of trying to put them off and be like, oh, I don't know, how do I get it absolutely perfect before I try? You're going to fail anyways. So you have to fail 10 times before you get this right. So go full speed ahead and try every single thing to the best of your ability. And then eventually you'll get there. But it's always so we don't know that when we're going into it.
Everyone wants to be perfect. Everyone wants to be perceived as perfect. Everyone wants to be perceived as the person that has it all together. No one wants to be like the sloppy hot mess. But that really it's not the same thing.
And also, people will look at what somebody else has and they're so jealous of it, but are you jealous of how they got there? Did you see their sloppy hot mess roller coaster moments as they got to where they are? Or are you just seeing the end goal? Because social media, we really just put our highlight reel out there. So you might not know what it took for them to get there.
Oh, yeah, they always say that. No one sees that. They just see, oh, they got 3 boats and 4 houses and all this money, but they don't see the sleepless nights. They don't see the rejection. They don't see events in their life that they had to miss because they had to sacrifice to get to where they're at. And it's just easier to look at the success part of things besides looking at what it took to get there.
Absolutely.
That's what I was thinking on the way here. I was like, man, I'm 43 years old, almost halfway to 44. And like the older you become, and I never wanted to admit this or think that would be me, but like the older you get lazy. And like lazy in the matter of just you get tired quickly, or it's go out and party with your friends, but then, oh, I'm so tired, I'd rather just lay on the couch kind of thing. But it's if you force yourself out of that, then I think it's easier to not become lazier and lazier. You fight that challenge. So that way when you're 60, 70, 80, like the lazy won't seem as lazy because you pushed it off for so long.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was very strange because the other night, like, it's usually me that's like, all right, Jay, like, we're done. Playtime's over. Time to go.
Like when you're out somewhere?
When we're out, yeah. And it was him the other day who texted me. It was like, 10 more minutes. And I was like, 10 more minutes till we leave? That's not like him.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, at 10 o'clock we'll leave. And he was telling the guys at work, he's like, that was very shocking where I'm ready to leave. And she told me 10 o'clock. And I was just ready to go.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So hell has officially frozen over.
Jay's ready to go home. What?
Yeah.
That is really, yeah, that's eye-opening. Are we just that old now?
I don't know. I don't know if it's just too because life is so busy, or in the case of you feel like you need to be busy and everyone's waiting for the busy bee award. Oh, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, it's so busy. I went from here to here. Or like when I talk to people and I'm like, oh, what are you up to this weekend? And the response is, it's so great. For the first time, we have nothing going on.
Yeah, I say that all the time. I'm always like, oh, look at this. We have nothing. But also it is that hustle culture where there are no awards given out for being burnt out of the million things. You know what I'm saying? Ugh, it is just so difficult to find a good balance between, now that we are getting older, like I almost forgot how old I was. I'm about to turn 39, which means I'm 38. I don't know where time went. Also, the fact that I have a 5th grader blows my mind because I feel like, how did I get here? Am I doing it right? Am I where I should be? I was never the type to be like, oh, at this age, I want this. And I think teaching fitness never was in my radar. Never. I never cared about like where I would live. The only dreams I think I had when I was younger for myself was like, I'm going to be living in California or I'm going to be living in Florida. And just, I'm going to be that girl on the beach, just like going with the flow. That couldn't be farther from my life as a suburban mom, driving carpool. I'm the room mom of 2 of my kids. I'm collecting for the end of the year teacher gifts. I'm trying to do my spreadsheets. Just so super boring. So very different than maybe where I thought I was. But I'm glad that I didn't have some crazy plan to where I would be perhaps let down.
But I think even if you had a plan, like if your 21-year-old self is looking into the future and watching you and you're looking back at your 21-year-old self, even if you had those ideas or dreams or goals, because of the way your life turned out, I don't think you'd have regret.
Because life is so great.
Perfectly said.
Yeah, I think if I saw my 21-year-old self, I don't even know, I did not know Mike when I turned 21. Like I knew of Mike, but I didn't know him. I actually don't even know if I knew him.
You had to have.
I remember the first time that I met him, I was like, you have this friend that everybody else seems to know is just a friend of a friend in our group. And I had never met him before. And I was like, man, he's such a hunk. Cool. But yeah, so when I was 21, if I could see myself now at almost 39, because I'm turning 39 in a month and 2 days.
Oh, you're not counting down at all.
By the time it airs, it's so easy because it's a month and 2 days ahead. But yeah, I think I would be like, wow, you did nothing with your journalism degree. I'd be like, huh, that's interesting. Why not? I might push myself a little bit there. But other than that, I'd be like, wow, you have kids. But there are things that would shock me about my life today, for good and bad. And I'm sure that's like kind of everybody. But you're right. I don't think that I would be super let down. Also because I think I'd be hopeful that there's still so much ahead.
But I also think that like your life is good. It might not be fabulous and great in comparison to some other people's lives, right? Mm-hmm. But if you compare yourself to other people whose maybe their dreams didn't come true and then nothing else happened either, then you're like, holy shit. Really pissed at your 39-year-old self versus like all the dreams that you had at 21 and then you really did nothing with the opportunities that came across.
Yeah, I see.
Because I know a lot of people that probably had a lot of opportunities come in front of them and they didn't grab, whether it was they weren't ready or the fear of grabbing onto them was stronger than following through with them. Now they're looking back and being like, I have regret.
I so needed this conversation because I have had like just such a hard week, like business-wise, career-wise, where it's just, what is worth it? Is it worth it to try to go after what you want? Because at the end of the day, you have no guarantees. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to work. We literally are just like on a wing and a prayer. I like texted my friends the other day. I was like, we're just getting by with like trust and pixie dust at this point. I have no idea what's going to work, but I'm just hoping and I just am praying that God guides me exactly to the places and the people and the spaces that like I need to be in. There's something to be said about wanting something and going after it, and you have to want it more than you fear failure, more than you fear looking like an idiot and messing it all up.
But I think that's the thing too is, oh my God, it just literally fell out of my head.
Boop, gone. Boop, gone.
Oh, if you're just wishing, you know, that saying like wish in one hand and
oh shit in another and see which half fills
but
up
like,
first.
If you're just wishing that things work out and you're hoping, I get like the manifesting power, positive thinking. But if you're sitting here being like, okay, if I just think about it and wish it and hope it comes true, it's not. You have to put in the work. So you have the people that are putting in the work, and then you have the people that are just wishing that it would happen to them. Oh, I'm just going to wish that I win the lottery, but I never buy a ticket. Mm-hmm. Or I wish that I had a better career, but you're not filling out resumes and going on interviews. Mm-hmm. So it's doing the work that's going to get you to where you need to be. Absolutely. I mean, I've been thinking, so like, again, we're halfway through the year, and I was like, did like a deep clean up in my office the other day, and my vision board. And I was like looking at it and I was like, wow, like it was a good attempt. And those things are consciously on my mind, but a lot of them went by the wayside. Mm-hmm. Life happens, gets busy. I looked at my book challenge for the year. I wanted to do 24 books. I'm only at 8. My face regimen, I was so excited about all the things that I bought. And it's like, when I'm getting ready for bed, I'm like, I'm just so tired. Like, I don't want to add the 16 more things to my face. Like, I just want to go to bed.
Totally.
That was my low. I know my low. Okay. My cousin had a barbecue, and so the kids wanted to play running bases, and I was telling them, like, back in the day, like, my aunts and uncles, they would play with us, but they really wouldn't play with us. Like, when they were little, they'd get down on the floor and play with us, but they expect, especially from me, to get, like, dirty and run around with them. Mm-hmm. So they were playing running bases. So it was me and my brother versus 2 of my nephews. And I had to run back and forth. And back and forth. It was like doing suicides in basketball. And I literally felt like my heart was going to explode out of my chest. I was so winded and out of breath. And I was like, man, I thought I was in good shape. I exercise. I go to the gym. But I was like, I need to step up my cardio game. And I know that was like on my list at the beginning of the year. And I have failed miserably at that.
I have a Peloton in my room. Do you want me to coach you through a little cardio exercise before you leave?
I started. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do 2 miles on the treadmill every morning on an incline and really get my heart rate up because that's just terrible. Like, I'm only 43. Like, I shouldn't feel like a complete loser after running a few bases. Like, it was awful. It was like a come to Jesus moment.
So this is funny. This is the second time that this quote, while you've been talking, has popped in my head. And it used to when I was younger. I heard this quote, reminds me of my grandpa, and it says, you don't get old when you stop playing. No, backwards. You don't stop playing when you get old. You get old when you stop playing. That's what it is. And it's so true because it's like you're talking about like staying young and being active with the kids and all this stuff, and Jay wanting to go home early from a party, and it's like literally if you stop, like a body in motion will stay in motion. If you continue to do things that, you know, just bring you joy. I mean, you playing with your nieces and nephews. First off, my nieces and nephews were also playing running bases over the weekend, and I called it like I was like, what are you guys doing, like playing kick the can? I like didn't know what they were doing, and they were like looked at me like I had 18 heads, and they're like, we're playing running bases. I'm like, I also don't know how to play that one, but it sounds fine.
I'll teach you.
Yeah, is it fun? Should we just do a field day in our backyard?
We should. We're pros at it now.
We are clearly pros at it.
Yeah.
Now that leads me into like my high, one of many highs. Memorial Day weekend last weekend was great. It was like supposed to be nasty weather, turned out really nice every day.
Perfect. If that could be the whole summer, obviously it wasn't hot enough to go swimming, but it was perfect weather.
Yeah, my kids went swimming at my in-laws.
Oh, did they?
Oh yeah, my sister and brother-in-law had a party, and they were like, and the kids don't care. They were in the water. They loved it. But I think that's the funny thing about the Midwest. Like when you, or just anything in life, if your expectations, like me when I went to see Mufasa, I love that movie now, but my expectations were so low when I went. So if your expectations are low, you're easily wowed. But if your expectations of the weather or of a birthday party or like things that you can't wait to go do, see, experience, whatever, if you're super excited, you got to bring it down. And I think we all know that by now. You live, and that's a quick lesson to learn, to lower the expectations so that you actually are happy when it happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, last week was field day. And I love the fact that we were both at field day on the same day. I cannot believe that. So your sister, our president of our fan club of Socially Unsocial podcast, Dominique, she has two adorable boys. They both go to the same school with your nephews.
With my nephews and my niece, yeah.
That's
they all
insane.
At the same school, yeah.
That is so fun for them. Speaking of like being with cousins and just like what fills your cup up, like that is so cool. So she asked you to volunteer because like volunteers are hard to come by because these field days, any day at school is a rough day and you're going to leave feeling exhausted from the energy of these children. It's like through the roof. I don't know how staff and teachers.
I don't know. Leaving there that day, I was like, God bless teachers even more because some of the kids I wanted to shove through the wall.
One of the moms that I was in my station with, I was like, ooh, she's getting mad. Like halfway through the day, we're no longer fun. Now we're serious. Now, if you're going to dump that cup of water on the person next to you, we're not quite as nice as the first 18,000 times that we saw children do that to each other. And she like snapped and I was like, get it, girl. Like you put them in your place. It was so funny. Okay, so this was one of my highs. Theo's, my oldest, it's his last field day.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was like, it's sad because I was looking through photos and I thought, oh, probably have a picture of our first field day and he's probably like this big because he would have been in kindergarten. And then I realized he was in kindergarten, and come May of 2020 when he was in kindergarten, he didn't get to do a field day.
Oh.
And then in 2021, they had to wear masks, remember? So like he still didn't get a field day. So I think he's only had a couple field days. So the side-by-side photo of him from second grade to fifth grade, it's not that great of a difference. Like I really wanted like an emotional moment for myself.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. And I didn't get it. I was like, whatever. I'll try again another time. But yeah, so field day, like it was really cool. And I just
What were you in charge of?
So I made the mistake of, excuse me, I made the big mistake of signing up for something called the Fireman's Relay.
Interesting. What the hell is that?
So I didn't realize that there was going to be a huge tub of water. And then I passed out cups to all the kids. And then the kids would have to take water and then pass it down. And then there'd be buckets at the end. And whoever filled the end bucket first is the winner. So I got to the station, and I hope to God that nobody that I worked with on the station is listening.
Prairie View, I hope you're listening. This sounds like a fun game.
But if you are listening, like, you should know this about yourself. Okay, so there was a guy with a stopwatch. So I get to the station, and this is like my, probably 8th between all my kids' field day situation. So I feel like I'm the pro. Also, I teach fitness. So, like, for a living, I, corral the masses and get people hyped up for fun times. So I think I'm going to be the MVP of the station. It's a given. My energy has to be through the roof, and I'm going to, whatever. No, I get there and there's a guy and another girl, And I'm like, hey guys, we're all on station 9, the relay, blah, blah. And the guy has this stopwatch. First off, he was like so excited to have the stopwatch. He was like, yeah, this is her last field day. And I'm thinking, I've never seen you around school before, but this can't be your first rodeo. You know what I mean? Like, we both have 5th graders. How have I not seen him? Because he seems very excited to be here. So then the games start. He does not have a megaphone. He's shouting at the top of his lungs. First off, like, the rules of the game. And I'm just like, first off, don't need to really explain the rules because I think the kids all get it. They have a cup. They see the bucket. Let's go. But he was so excited to explain it. He was talking so loud. And like, when you see people and you just kind of think, what is their life like at home?
Did you want to bum rush him? Were you like aggravated with him?
It was just so interesting. I just thought he was taking his job way too seriously. I was happy because then I don't have to bring that energy of the one explaining and corralling everybody line up. But like, literally, he would be like over here telling them what to do. And then he'd be like, lower the cup, lunge toward the water so that you don't spill it at the end. Like, he was getting so into it. And I was just like, huh. I don't know if I bring that kind of energy and seriousness to like anything I do in life. But he was like all in. You know what? You're looking like that because that was you at field day, people. I'm like, why aren't you commiserating with me? This is like a weird situation.
Because, yeah, I was in charge of Minute to Win It, and sometimes I was by myself, and sometimes I had someone with me. And so I literally, because I was just used to doing it by myself. So when the other person walked in, because I was already in the room first, I was just like spilling, and then everyone else had a way of doing it. I'm like, no, this is how I do it.
And you were so excited. Oh my God, I wish I could have seen that. Dominique must have caught like you in the corner of her eye. Was she embarrassed or was she like, yep,
No,
that's my sister?
She didn't see anything, so whatever she must have heard through the grapevine.
So now you're like invited back every year. They're like, the kids are going to remember, oh yeah, that girl with the Minute to Win It. That was so fun.
For some of them, yeah. Because I hand out ping pong balls. And that was the other thing.
Were you chucking them at the kids by the end?
But like every time I said balls, like you get at the balls and the A cart, and like I felt like I'm saying this to kids, like they're gonna laugh, like then I wanted to laugh.
No, these kids are like 7.
No, but
they're not gonna laugh. You're just chuckling inside. It got you through the day, I bet, just like giggling to yourself.
It did. But then there was one I was handing out the ping pong balls, and they were all different colors. Kids like, I want the pink one. And finally I was like, guys, you're not marrying this, you're not dating this, we're playing a game, so you're just gonna get whatever ball you want.
Oh my God, I could just literally, I envision you as like a Billy Madison, or what's that, more like just freaking out and being like, just take the ball. Oh man, that is great. I wish we were there together. You do like to micromanage, like, you know that about yourself. Yeah, you're like a natural leader to a fault.
But I just wanted the kids to have fun, and then I was like, come on guys, we gotta be cheering each other on. Like, everyone was so quiet
for them. You better cheer.
It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to get everyone aggravated and cry. There was a little girl who started crying because she didn't want anyone cheering her on, and the team was cheering her on, and she pouted and she went up against the wall and she cried, and I was like, okay. I'm like,
pressure. It was a lot of pressure.
Teacher, I'm like, did something happen? Did someone hit her in the head with the ball? She's like, no, they were cheering her on. She just didn't like it. I'm like, okay.
You're like, all right.
Yes, some people don't like positive reinforcement.
Yeah, the emotions of kids. But I could see that, because say if you're like in class with all your peers and you're nervous and maybe you're not the most athletic, like field day is not your day then. And then now you have to do whatever Minute to Win It with them.
Don't you think that it would be better if like people are cheering for you whether you suck? Because now you don't know if you suck or not, right? Because people are cheering for you and everyone's excited. So would it be weird if, oh, they cheered for Tommy and Linda, but they didn't cheer for me?
Yeah, like you want the cheering to be equal.
Right. Like I want everyone to be excited and cheer on their team no matter what.
Totally. However, when you're that one person, maybe you're not used to all that attention, and maybe you just really don't even want to be there. And then now everyone's like, Patty, and you're like, oh my God, the pressure is mounting. So I wonder if that little girl will remember this field day and be like, yeah, I remember when I was younger and everyone was cheering for me and it was just like so intense.
Maybe.
Field day does bring out like the best and the worst in people. like just looking around, I was like, there's so many parents there. And then there would be so many moms. And I'd be like, oh, I know that mom because I saw her on like Instagram, or, oh, I know this person through this. And it was great because it was a long field day. Like it went from 11 to 2:30. Like it wasn't just, oh, an hour and a half and you're done. So like seeing people in their natural element, and I had sunglasses on, so I was like really able to just soak it in. And I was with,
Oh, that's what you call it? Really soaking it in instead of creeping?
yeah, I was totally people watching. Since Cabo, I've gotten really good at people watching, and it's really fascinating. And since I had the MVP of field day at my station, he was handling it, and I was just like scoping it all out. And then you see this mom was going to post later about how like into her field day thing, which by the way, I like literally posted field day this morning. I was into it, okay? But like you'll see these posts on social media, but then when you see them there, they're not even by their kids, or they're just gossiping in the corner. They're not helping at all. Not at all. And I'm just like, what's happening here? You know what I mean? Like you see it on social media. Oh my God, field day was so great, or this thing with my kid. But then you see them in real life and you're like,
They want, nothing to do with
that
your
looked
children.
nothing. And then the best part was, but also like sad, and made me really grateful for my relationship with not just my parents, but also them with my kids, is that there was a 5th grade girl, and this dad comes walking over to our station, and I'm like, oh, why is this random man here all of a sudden? So his daughter is playing the game, and then she caught his eye, didn't go and say hi. If my dad came to my school, I would run and give him a hug. And no, she was just like, looked, and she's like, why are you here? And he's like, oh, I had to drop something off in the office. I heard it was field day, so I thought I'd come and try to find you and say hi. Girl says nothing back to that. Dad just stands awkwardly next to me. And then I had my sunglasses on, so I didn't feel the need to have to converse with him. So I just like, was doing my thing with the kids.
You should have turned to him and like, why does your daughter hate you so much?
It was so sad. And then I was just like, and then he like started to walk away. So now he's like behind me, and then she like moved and then it was like round 2. So now she's got a new position. And I'm like watching her. I'm like, she's gonna look up, right? Like she's gonna look up and see if he's still there. Never looked up. And then the dad eventually just did a wave because I saw his hand, and then he just walked away. And all I could think was, is that your daily life? And also, I'm sure I did that to my parents at times. Like that, it was so sad for me to see. Just the disconnect of a dad to his daughter. And I don't know. There was just a lot of emotions on field day, okay? There was highs, there was lows. There was times when I wanted to hug the kids because I felt so bad for them. Times I wanted to smack them because they were just really getting on my nerves. And then like sometimes I just look at kids, and one kid was like, I don't have to listen to them. They're not my parents. And I was like, Gabriel? I was like, woosah. I just have to walk away. But like, how rude.
Oh, yeah.
And I just think, what are my kids like when I'm not around? What are they like if they're standing in a line, spilling water and splashing people? And if a volunteer adult says, hey, it's just so interesting. I had like nuns at my school, so I was very scared of them. If an adult told me to do something, I'd be like,
Yeah, but our generations are totally different.
I would do things behind their back.
But we were raised, you never talk back or disrespect an adult. Whether it's an adult, whether it's an adult you're related to, you had respect for your elders. And these kids today are fucking assholes. I'm sorry. They are, like, to watch the amount of disrespect that happen these kids, and the punks that they are, and how they talk to each other. I don't remember talking to my classmates like some of the stuff that I heard.
At field day, you heard this?
Yeah.
Oh.
Again, that's what I was trying to be like, guys, let's cheer for each other, instead of, because they're like, come on, you jerk, move faster. Oh, you suck. And I'm like, oh, wow.
I know, I heard that a few times, and then I would just go up to him and I'd be like, okay, guys, make sure that you're talking nice to each other. Like, what? I don't know how the teachers do it, but it's got to be really hard because kids go through a lot. Kids are going through a lot at those ages, and parents, I don't know, they're working more, they're busy, especially, maybe that's how we talked about earlier, this hustle culture.
Yeah, I think that was the demise, because you always had someone at home there for you. And now it's like you have a small window. Like you see your mother or your father for what, an hour or two in the morning, and then maybe for an hour or two when you come home from school, in between sports, in between homework, in between reading. And you don't really have that. And then I feel like expectations, not saying most parents, but some parents have the expectation that it's the school's responsibility and the teacher's responsibility to teach their kid everything and to reprimand their kid. And then you have those parents that are like, absolutely not. Do not talk to my kid that way. Do not reprimand them. So it's a lose situation that we're living in, because I think children and adults don't take responsibility for their actions. They just want everything to be easy.
Absolutely. Who doesn't want it to be easy? But I think we always talk about being self-aware and taking accountability. And it's just like you can't just coast through. Like, you have to do the work. You have to show up, be vulnerable, be honest with yourself. And sometimes it's really hard to see your kids because they're an extension of you. So it's hard because then you think it's something on you. But you, as a parent, you just have to realize, like, they're a child, they're learning. So when they mess up, it's not you've messed up as a parent.
But you've messed up as a parent if you are not acknowledging whatever behavior it is. If you're just letting it go, thinking it's going to get better, or because you don't want to have that hard conversation with them, then
absolutely,
it's something that you have to look inward on.
I think we take it too personal, and when we take things too personal, it's hard to address it and not be like emotionally charged by it.
So let me ask you a question, since you're a mom. I think I know the answer, but
you're like, why am I even asking?
No. So if someone that you knew, loved and respected came to you and said something about one of your kids being like, hey, like, I saw this, I just want to bring it to your attention. I'm sure you know about it, but just something so that way you're aware of it, because if something gets worse, I don't want you to feel guilty that no one said anything. How would you react?
Well, of course, it depends on like how serious it is. But so just say it's like a medium serious thing. I would be like, wow, thanks so much for letting me know. I'll definitely be talking to him about it. And man, it takes a village. Thank God you saw it. Thank God you noticed. And yeah, because we've had that within my like group of mom friends. And I think that we get closer because when I'm able to look out for your kid, and it's a no judgment thing, like kids are kids, but hey, I saw so-and-so do this. Or I've seen this a few times, this like same behavior from whatever child, and just wanted to let you know. And then you drop it, because it is hard as a parent to see that your child is not doing nice things or doing things right. It's very hard.
That's what I thought. I thought it'd be like, okay, first you'd be on the defense being like, oh, F you, like, for telling me. And how do you think your kid's so perfect? But then if you sit on it for a minute and realize it was coming from a place of love, and you're really like looking inward and be like, wow, like I maybe had blinders on to that just because it was my kid, or I just thought it was just that moment. Okay, you're appreciative after.
Absolutely, because you can't have eyes on your kid all the time. And it's one thing if I notice something about my kid and then hearing other people notice it. It's okay, so this is a thing. How do we then address it to make sure that he comes out of it or she comes out of it in the end, understanding more that behavior is not acceptable? So I think it's a lot of like where your heart is when you go to people and you try to correct them. I feel like you love things in other people's lives, and then you think that if you can help them, it's like almost doing a disservice to your friendship if you don't address it. But a lot of people aren't like that, because a lot of people cannot take criticism.
It comes from a place of almost jealousy.
Yeah, and it's, I can't wait to point this out about you. I can't wait to bring you down. I can't wait to make sure that when maybe even other people know. It's that quote I saw on social media where it's like, a true queen doesn't tell the world that another queen's crown is crooked. You just fix it without telling everybody. And it's, and just be there for people. Help when you can, and you don't have to make it a big thing. You can just help when you can.
Guys, I hope that this episode has helped you look back on the last 6 months, 5 months basically, and reflect on the things that you thought you were going to stick with or do better at. And if you didn't stick with your plan, it's okay. June is a reset month. Let's reset and look forward. Let's not look backwards unless you're trying to learn something from your past and bring something bodacious into your future.
Here you are with those big words again.
Bodacious. I'm bringing back all the 80s and 90s words. It really makes Jay angry.
I was going to say, I've never heard that word.
So happy June.
Happy
Thanks
June.
for listening.
Thanks for listening, fam.
We're going to keep being us so you can keep being you.
Bye.
Bye.